Funny, it's very simple. Oil right now has a new cartel. It's written up in the papers this morning. OPEC doesn't want to talk about a cartel and such. Is there a new cartel, and what is it?
I think it looks like that the OPEC members and Russia and some others are moving together politically and also in terms of their production aspirations. This is true, but the effectiveness of this grouping is another issue altogether. We have seen that after they made the agreement in Vienna recently, there was an impact on the prices, but the impact was prices went down before recovering slightly. So there is a de facto grouping of the OPEC, Russia, and others, but there is also a question of how effective is this grouping altogether as a result of the response coming from shale in the United States, as we have said several times before.
I look, Fatih, at where oil is and how oil fits into the global economy right now. On an asymmetric basis, is there a risk to the downside? We've recently rolled over on an inflation-adjusted basis with all of the synthesis you do at IEA. Is there simply a risk to the downside on the price of oil?
I think there are, of course, always downside and upsides to oil prices. The upsides of the prices are coming mainly from the geopolitical concerns we have. Venezuela, Middle East, including Iran and elsewhere. Downside is mainly because of the slowing down of the global economy, and it is impact on the demand, especially the Chinese economy. We expect Chinese economic growth this year will be the slowest in the last 3 decades. And we should remember that the China alone was responsible more than 50% of the global oil demand growth in the last 10 years. So the downside impact on the prices may well come from the slowing down of the global economy, especially in China and other emerging economies.
Fatih Birol, does that mean that the IEA is actually reducing the forecast for oil demand growth due to signs of this economic weakness around the world?
So I think it is rather early to make a judgment, the definite judgment about a revision on the oil demand growth. We will be releasing our numbers shortly, but what I'm talking is, if the economic slowdown indications coming from China, from the car sales to telephones, from telephones to construction industry continues, and if we see a slowdown from China and the rest of the world, this may well have impacts on our demand expectations for this year and maybe beyond.
Okay, do you think OPEC actually cut enough production in January to prevent a build-up in surplus?
Yes, once again, OPEC is, and plus Russia and the others are trying to push the prices up above $60 where they are today. But we should not forget that the U.S. shale is very responsive to the price changes, and maybe more importantly, towards the end of this year, it will be even more responsive as a result of the finishing a huge amount of new pipeline capacity coming in United States. And this pipeline capacity, additional pipeline capacity in the United States, will make the U.S. oil industry much quicker and a much faster way to respond to the international oil price changes. So if the traditional oil exporters should be careful once today, they should be careful twice tomorrow when this pipeline capacity is expansion is completed towards the end of this year.
Fatih Birol, how much gas do you think that Germany will import going forward? And actually, how big of a role will LNG play in that?
This is a good question because I am now in Berlin together with German Economy Minister Altmaier and the U.S. Deputy Secretary of Energy, Dan Burrett. We have just discussed the global LNG markets, Europe, United States, and others. To be honest with you, in the next 7 years, Europe has to find 1/3 of its gas demand from new sources. 1/3, it's a big number. So where will these new imports come from? Would it be continuation of getting gas from Russia or LNG, including United States and other countries such as Qatar and others, is a key question. In my view, it is now the high time for Europe to diversify its gas mix and make the most out of the new LNG wave coming from United States mainly, but also from Australia and Qatar, because prices are becoming slowly but surely competitive here for Europe in general and Germany in particular.